Hello, beautiful manifestors. It is Olivia Grace, and I am back with another video. And welcome to the Master Manifestors channel. We talk about law of assumption, manifestation, knowing your God self, manifesting from that perspective, all that good stuff. So if you haven't subscribed, you should. And also, if you want to support me in the channel, then leaving a comment, a like, any of that is also helpful. I do offer coaching, you guys. So if you resonate with this message today and you would want me to help you further, links are in the description. I also have guided sat scenes and guided revision scenes that I can custom create for you. You can just send me some details about your circumstance and what you're wanting to manifest, and I can create that for you. So all of that information is in the description. I also still have my 30-day challenge from July tagged in there. And I feel like that was just a really, first of all, it's a whole bunch of videos, but it's also just a very clarifying thing. I feel like it can answer a lot of questions that you may have and help you along your journey. So today we're talking about resistance. And this is something that I feel like causes a lot of people to give up and like, because we get caught up in the resistance, in the old story that continues to pop up in our mind, right? And it's understandable, but at the same time, if you want what you want, you have to be able to persist, right? And I've talked about this in a couple of videos in the 30-day challenge that is in the description as well. But I want to talk a little bit more about it and get into more detail about it, because here's the thing about the resistance. The resistance comes up stronger when you are actually trying to make a change. And there's a couple of reasons why that is, right? Number one, the resistance, in some ways, the way that the old story is popping up into your life is not even so much different or so much stronger in some cases. It's just that you're changing your self-concept. So you believe differently about yourself, or you're starting to believe differently about yourself, and you're starting to expect differently about yourself. You're starting to kind of know that you deserve better and deserve, whatever it is that you're creating. So when the opposite shows up, it can be really triggering, because you're like, your identity has shifted, right? Which is the first thing that happens when you're manifesting. Your identity shifts first, and then your reality shifts, right? So when you're in the midst of that process happening, you're in the new identity, but reality is still conforming. And so that can be super triggering to your new identity, if to any person. But that's why it's so important to be able to persist through that, because here's the next part. The next reason is that you're actually close, because it, again, your identity shifts, your reality shifts. We know that this is how these things work. But your old identity and your old story, even though it may be harmful, it may suck, it may be really hurtful or whatever, regardless of that, it's comfortable, right? Yourself feels comfortable knowing that. Like, let's take money, for example. You might be, embracing a self-concept of someone who has lots of money all the time and can buy whatever they want, but maybe coming from a self-concept of someone who has to budget and struggle and, figure things out. And as humans, for majority of us, we know what it's like to struggle. We know what it's like to sacrifice this to get that, or, to just go without so I can get this. And so when you're starting to shift, like, your old self feels comfortable in that. Your old self is like, well, I know what to do if I'm struggling. I know, how to budget. I know how to penny pinch. I know how to feel lack. This is what feels comfortable to me. And although it may not feel good to me, it's comfortable to me, right? And so your old story is trying to fight for its life, basically, to keep you in what you're in currently, right? And unfortunately, a lot of times the old story wins out, because not only is it comfortable, but it's familiar to you, and it's already set into your belief. Some part of you, the bigger part of you, still believes that you are that person, right? And so when you really, really are able to shift the identity, it won't really matter. You'll see that you respond to the old story differently, right? You won't need to wait for your reality outside of you to change in order for you to change, in order for you to basically embrace like a new, to really fully embrace your new identity or your new self-concept. You're not going to have to wait for something outside of you to change, because you're deciding who you are, not the outside of you, right? So, but when you're still in that mind frame of letting the outside, what's outside of you, determine who you're going to be, then when this resistance comes up, you decide based off of what you're seeing that this is not working. And I totally get, and just side note, this, I talk more about dealing with the 3D and all of that, and I have a playlist for that, and I'm going to put this video on that playlist so you guys can watch the other videos on dealing with 3D. But so really, it's that's why it's so important, you guys, though, to really stay firm in your new identity, and really stay firm and not to base your identity off of 3D, you guys. Okay, this is why, because when we're going through these shifts and we're seeing the opposite, that can't be the reason. And that's why I was kind of yelling at you guys a few videos ago, you know, and telling you guys that you can't. Hi, Thunder. You said you're going to ask me an extremely in-depth question earlier, similar to this, but scrapped it because you were falling back into your old beliefs. Well, I'm answering your question anyway, Thunder. So, but yes. So, and that's what I want to say. And I'm glad that you did, Thunder, honestly, because that's the thing about continuing to choose the new story, continuing to choose to think from the new story, right? And so, because, and here's the thing, that's what I've been trying to say. You guys, like, I'm still doing it even as I'm about to talk about this, but I watch my videos and I'm like, oh my God, I speak like I have ADHD. Like, I go from topic to topic to topic to topic. But anyways, what I was going to say is that I get it, because the resistance can feel hard. The resistance can feel real as fuck. The resistance can, it can really try and, like, you know, like, beat your ass. Like, it really is, like, and it's bombarding you with, you know, these old thoughts and these old feelings, and, well, you know, and it almost, like, I notice for me, like, when I'm having that resistance, the ego is like trying to mask it as like, well, I'm just trying to make sure that you're all right. Like, I'm just trying to make sure that you're safe. I'm just trying to make sure that I am trying to make sure that you get what you really want, because, you know, all of this stuff, like, it's like the ego is trying to keep you in fear and say, listen to me, listen to the old story. This, like, don't get into all that other stuff. Listen to this. But because it wants to continue. Your avatar self feels comfortable in that current story, right? So really persisting through the resistance, right? Yes, your ego is scared to let it go. Exactly, Thunder. Your ego is holding on to it simply because it's familiar. It doesn't even have to, it doesn't benefit you. Obviously, the old story doesn't benefit you, but it's familiar, but we can count on it, right? We feel safe in it, right? And we feel unsafe in the unknown, right? So, but persisting through the resistance, you guys, you just keep persisting. And it's like I said, there are different levels of, in my opinion, there are different levels where you may be emotionally, you know, and different things that you should do at that time. And I think I'm going to make a separate video about that. But, you know, if you're in a place when you're full out fucking spiraling, like, you're done, and you guys know that place I'm talking about, where you can't, it's like you can't even hear this, you know what I mean? You can't even hear the teachings, or you don't even really believe that shit anymore, and you're just, you're drowned by your circumstances. When you're in that, self-care, you guys, take care of yourself, you know. But the moment that you are a little bit out of that, you guys, even if it's just simply, no matter what's going on right now, no matter how I'm feeling right now, it's still going to work out for me, no matter what. Like, there's a channel named called Illuminating Joy, and I guess I won't say she teaches law of assumption, but she kind of, I don't know, but she's a really good channel for you guys to check out, and kind of like underrated. But anyways, she talks about like parallel realities, right? And one of the things that she talked about with releasing resistance was, okay, there's a reality where I have this resistance and it stops me from getting my manifestation, but there's also reality where I have this resistance and I get my manifestation anyway. So I don't have, and that takes away the need to resist the resistance, right? The need to be afraid. And this is what I was talking about, you guys, like, being like, when you're in your God self, and you still have that knowing, even in the midst of a really shitty second, you guys. Oh my God, I need to put my phone on do not disturb. Anyways, even when you're in the midst of a really shitty state and a really, you're going through whatever it is that you're going through, like you can still have the awareness though that I am God. Like I am God, so I may be in this state, but I'm simply just in this state. And that is, can you hear me now, Thunder? It muted because I was getting a call and then I had to reject the call and then put my phone on do not disturb. I hope you guys can hear me now. But yes, I was saying the awareness of being the God self allows you to maybe be in an unfavorable state. Maybe even because I know sometimes when you're in those unfavorable states, you can't see yourself out of it, but you can still be aware that I'm simply in a state. Or when you're having really bad resistance and the old story is like really bombarding you, you can still be aware this is just the old story, right? And I think that's a really good awareness to have of resistance, that I don't have to be afraid of this. This is just simply what I created previously. And I'm creating something new now, right? Period. I'm creating something new and it's already done. So even though I'm having this resistance, I know that I'm still going to get what I want. But the big thing that I want you guys to understand in this video is to persist through the resistance, you guys. Even, and no matter how long it takes, but even like when things are going wrong or it just feels like your brain is not accepting what you're putting on it, like you guys, I'm telling you, there has been so many times for me where I was in so much resistance one day and it felt like my brain was just like not fucking accepting at all what I was trying to tell it. And the next day I would be through it because I persisted and I just continued and continued and continued until it just eased off, But what we do is we persist, and this is a thing. And then I'm going to make one more point and I'm going to get off, but this is the thing, is we persist, then we come up against that wall. It's like that darkness before the dawn, right? It's when all the shit is getting thrown at you. Like, nope, it's not going to work. Here's old story, circumstance. And that's the time when we want to crumble, right? That's the time. I'm so glad I'm saying this, bro. I'm having an epiphany as I'm saying this because this happens to me all the time. But like when I'm doing like a big, like something else, like when I'm doing something big, there's always like this moment right before it happens where it tries to like beat me down. Like, no, you're not going to have this. It's not going to work out for you. Whether it's my thoughts, whether it's my circumstance, whatever it is, it's like really coming at me. And most of the time, pat myself on the back. I usually, do persist in that, just persist through that. Usually I can look at that and recognize, because I honestly forgot that until I just said this. But, usually I would recognize, oh, this is that resistance right before it happens. So I'm not afraid of it, right? But a lot of times we come up to that darkness right before the dawn and we're like, fuck it. You know what? We let it overtake us. We let it tell us that we're not going to get what we want. It's not going to happen for us. And we go back into that tempting, seductive old story and just keep going in the bullshit. And then, a few months later, we're like, oh, wait, like we have an epiphany, like, wait, but I am God in my reality. I don't have to give into this. And we start the whole shit over. You know what I mean? So instead, persist, y'all, and have faith. I was listening to a song by Marvin Sapp. It's called Praise Him in Advance, right? And in it, he's talking about being grateful in advance, which is actually something that my guides told me as well when I asked them about what's the best way to manifest. And they said intention and gratitude. Intention and gratitude. When Jesus in the Bible was multiplying the loaves of bread and the fish, he didn't say, God, can you like do this or, whatever. He just said, thank you. He just lifted his hands and said, thank you, because he knows as soon as he has that intention and desire, God hears it and fulfills it. This is also how Neville manifested, right? Something that Neville says all the time. If I heard it, I know that my Father heard it. If I heard it, I know that the God in me heard it, right? So I can go right, and for Neville, it wasn't necessarily a gratitude thing, or he did actually teach that too, but, he didn't feel the need to keep, he didn't feel the need to keep asking for it or whatever, right? He just knew it was done, right? And so in the song that I'm talking about, he says, it's saying praise him in advance, but it's saying praise will confuse the enemy, right? So what is the enemy? When Christians talk about the enemy, because it's a gospel song, Christians talk about the enemy, they're talking about the devil, right? And what is the devil in the law of assumption, right? The devil is translated as doubt, right? The devil is doubt. That is what the devil is. That in my opinion, there's no evil entity that's coming to do whatever the fuck to you, right? it's your own doubt. It's that voice in your head that's saying, no, you can't. You didn't do it before. Nobody else has ever done that. I don't really see that for you. It's that voice. That's the devil. That's doubt, right? So that's the enemy, right? And praise confuses the enemy, because if you are thanking God for the fulfillment of your desire, right? And this, I talked about this a long time ago, but come into gratitude for what you want, you guys. Praise will confuse the enemy, okay? If you are in complete gratitude, thank you so much for this thing that I'm manifesting for you, Thunder. Thank you so much for this physical change. I can't believe it actually happened, even though you're in resistance, even though you're not seeing it, even though whatever, even though you might be doubting. If you can switch and be disciplined, right? Because discipline is so important, but I'm not going to get into that. But if you can switch and decide, no, I'm not going to let the old story win out. I'm going to go into gratitude for what's already done for me, what I know is already done for me, okay? I can praise and be happy and grateful and thankful and praising and like uplifting myself for what's already done for me. That is already like a complete opposite energy than the energy of, where is it? Or is it even going to work? Or I don't think it's going to work for me, or whatever, right? So just try that, you guys. Let me read this. Let's see. Thunder says she's going to Japan with her mom in 2 months and going to do the first class manifestation as Neville did for Barbados. You already went to Japan and you went first class, Thunder. That's so awesome. If you keep going, no matter how hard it is, you'll always cross the finish line, get what you want. But if you give up, you'll always see the thing out of reach. That is so real. Yes. So I really want to touch on that really quick. That is so true, you guys. Like that, I think of that too, Thunder. Like when you're running, like if you think about running a race or running a match or whatever, when you're running, if you just keep going, eventually you are going to cross the finish line. Eventually you are going to if I start walking today to California, I'm in Atlanta. If I start walking today from California, it might take a very fucking long time, right? But eventually, if I keep going that way, I am going to run into California, okay? And what we usually do is we get somewhere. Abraham Hicks actually talked about this. Like we get to like Montana and we're like, this isn't California. I'm going to just turn around and go back the way I came. I'm just going to give up. Fuck this shit. It's not going to work. That's what we usually do, you guys. But no, persist. Like, keep going, keep going. I love that you said that. Thunder says, what is my ethnicity? I could pass for Black Brazilian. That's so sweet. No, I'm Black. Like, my mom is Jamaican and my dad is, like, American Black. But he's, like, my dad has, like, Native American in him as well, though. Like, his mom was Native American, and his grandma or something like that. But yes. You're so welcome, Thunder. I intend and know you are going to enjoy Tokyo. Wait, did you say Tokyo? You said Japan. You, or whatever part of, I mean, maybe you are going to Tokyo, but I know you're going to enjoy it. And yes, I can't wait to hear about first class for you. You should go look at some videos of first class and like see yourself in it. But anyways, I love you, Thunder, and I love the rest of you guys. And I will see you guys in another video.